Welcome to WeTaku talks about Jojo's motherfucking bizarre adventure. Welcome, motherfuckers. I am your host, Jovan, and with me are two of my regular co-hosts plus one of my other regular co-hosts at this point. Introduce yourselves, please.
Hey, I'm Thomas. I don't know why I said it like that. Go ahead.
I'm Alan, and I've been listening to these three talk about D&D for like the past 20 minutes.
I'm JD, and JoJo's is basically what I've been pushing ever since they let me onto this podcast. So
I'm pushing it long before that.
So I've been pushing it since the start, which was years ago. But I'm excited.
I did this for you, JD.
Thank you. I appreciate you. I appreciate you watch JoJo's.
I did this because Alan's refused to watch it for like 2 years.
I think everyone should be forced to watch it.
I
Like,
think it's
Whether they want to or not.
Myself, I had always wanted to watch this, but I just needed something to push me into watching it, and this was a good excuse to finally get down and do it.
Alright, so first things first, JD, for the uninitiated, what is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure?
Oh, it's so hard to put into words when
It's
you
a
get down
bizarre
to it.
adventure.
It's a bizarre adventure. It's
Good, thanks,
about,
guys.
it's just a family line of manly men, and they're saving the world from whatever may peril it. If it's vampires or ancient beings or
Vampires.
whatever zombies, it's whatever's blighting the world, and it's these true heroes that are saving the world from everyone through
And do they do it
generations.
subtly, JD?
What?
Are they subtle when they save the world?
Oh no, they're flamboyant as all can be, more than you could even imagine, posing and being the heroes they should be.
Yeah, so definitely shonen, satire, and like just a lot of culture references, but like they're
You ever
not
watched This is the North Star.
they're not relevant culture.
They're not. They're just saying
references.
words that happen to be relevant in Western culture for no reason, and that's fine. I accept that.
To be fair, the mangaka does have like a huge like music boner though, which is seen
huge
even in the
part for
first season.
age
Like I know it becomes a big problem in the in part 4, but even in part 1, REO Speedwagon is one of the characters. Just
Tom
everybody
Petty
remember
show
that.
up. Dire Straits. It's crazy.
Cars, AC/DC,
Uh,
Santana.
that's what he's named after.
Yeah,
Oh god.
Everyone's named after a band.
and
Everyone.
Wham.
I realized Essie
Yeah,
was.
Wham.
I knew Wham. I just didn't realize Essie Desi.
Wham was the first one where I was like, oh, they're all. Not the first of like all of them, but the first of those 4. Where I was like, oh, that's what he is.
God, I was watching with a friend and it was his first time. And the moment Speedwagon's introduced, he just pauses and goes, "Jovan, what's his full name?"
And then Zeppelin took me a while to connect.
Oh, yeah, I never
us.
realized that until someone pointed it out to me that it was Led Zeppelin.
Oh,
I
I was
didn't realize
talking.
that either.
I was talking to someone and was like, his name is Zeppeli. Zeppelin. It's Zeppelin.
There we go.
Just find it
His
for
first
everyone.
name like doesn't sound lead at all.
Yeah.
That's Will A. Zeppelin, I believe.
It's like Matthew or something like that.
That's not Matthew.
Michael. No, Michael's his son, right?
It's
The
a
first Zeppeli, I believe, is Will.
Yeah, it's Will Zappelli.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, like JD said, this is a generational story. So we actually experience more than one bizarre adventure with more than one JoJo, though you generally get one at a time. The first part takes place in Victorian England. Second part in 1930s begins in America, at
America.
least. It begins in America. They're both very travel-y, but one of which is like across England, and the other one is like, well, I guess we're everywhere and nowhere. Sound. How we feel about sound.
So, obviously, the music's fantastic, except for the first opening. But everything
I
else.
like the first opening.
It's acceptable, it's not fantastic.
No, it's mostly about the. I like the thematics of it. When you
I just like
But-
the long drawn out Jojo at the end.
Jojo.
So good.
A lot of the background music, I noticed it repeated a couple times, but it wasn't ever bad. It was thematic. If it wasn't a rock song, it was just like synth mood music. And as far as sound effects, solid. Like,
Mhm.
like it would have a fist hit a face or whatever, and you're like, you recoil. You're like, oh my god, or like someone's leg twist, and you're like, I didn't want to hear that. I don't want to see it,
Oh.
but I heard it too.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
you feel
yeah,
it.
no,
You
it's
feel it in the
great.
show.
Every time
Everything's-
anyone gets injured, you're like,
Oh, that's it.
And then they could just get up, and you're like, oh, okay,
well,
did it even matter?
Hammond, what are you gonna do, right? Ripple magic.
Yeah, and then I love the second opening
Second
more
opening's
than-
great.
more than anything. I know people who hated the second opening,
Those
and I
people are
disagree
wrong.
with them adamantly, because I think visually and musically, it's perfect. I love it.
I get just like really pumped up when I hear the second opening, and then you have that
Exactly.
shot of like the JoJo of that generation and
Mhm.
the Zappelli of that generation just kind of kicking for a while.
Yeah,
And I'm into it. I love it.
you have the clacker volley in the shot. It's great.
Oh yeah, jeez, that thing. Anyway,
I think voice acting should also be mentioned as just holy
The
shit.
voice
we're
act-
not there yet. That's season 2.
You get a couple of
Yeah, we're not at the holy shits, but we are.
Oh, no,
Hey,
you're right.
baby.
We have a lot of oh no's. We have a lot of oh no's. Never mind, my bad. Oh no.
But yeah, the Japanese characters. I will say I've watched some of the dub, and it's not bad, but they make Joseph the most British person I've ever heard talk ever, which I did not
Joseph?
expect.
Oh, okay, yeah, well,
There.
he
is
do say
British.
that he has a British accent. Yeah.
But they make him so British. It's almost too British. But yeah, the Japanese original audio, the voice is spot on. I think.
Yeah, I think they're fantastic. Wait, JD, I have a question.
Eh?
Is Joseph more British than Jonathan?
In the voice acting,
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I think like from what I heard, he is because he's more eccentric when he talks. So you hear him more, I think.
Okay, that's
Because
maybe
when you hear
fair.
Jonathan talk, he's the right proper British man, and that's fine. That's pretty standard. But Joseph's like he's loud and excited.
Like
about it.
Cockney, like annoying Cockney.
Yeah, almost Cockney British accent. Yeah.
That's
Um,
amazing.
Yeah, I almost feel like I should watch it in English because it's set in England and America, and they are speaking English,
Mhm.
apparently. But
Yeah, it's
Japanese.
No, it's fine.
how,
Next
with,
one.
next one, yeah, there we go. It's just the fact that like I know how eccentric some of the English gets in the Japanese version, just how crazy and like well acted the Japanese version is. I can't like with all the other ones, I generally watch like an episode or two in the English dubs just so I can talk about it. For this one, I couldn't bring myself to do it because I was just like, I love the Japanese.
Oh, no,
too
yeah.
much.
The voice acting's legendary in the JoJo's. Like people make it's meme worthy to all
It's
extents.
it's great, and it's only uphill.
Mhm.
God, it's so good. I think with sound, it should be noted that thematically, and I think I can say this without spoilers, since we said you're getting 2 generations of JoJos. The first generation defines what it means to be a JoJo. The second generation defines what it means to be on a bizarre adventure.
It's a pretty bizarre adventure.
All I'm saying is like the first one is like this is like a core theme. All JoJos are gonna have like this base personality that doesn't have much to it, and then after that, you just everyone else is a madman go, but different kinds,
Mhm.
and I love that.
Yeah, I like part 1 and 2 honestly together, and I like that they did it together because it's thematically so proper for JoJo's. Where you have the hero who fights for good, and then you have the weird, wacky guy who finds
Also
weird ways
fights
to
for
solve
good.
his problems. It's so
Yeah. All right. So, and we've like tiptoed around characters. We're gonna get way more into that with spoilers, just due to the nature of this generational show. But animation, weird.
Mhm.
Gonna avoid using the B word on that one. But
So
the
yeah,
animation's definitely
yeah, I definitely have
raw.
opinions about it. Because JoJo's is known for having fantastic art and it's beautiful. Through reading the manga and all that. And the problem is how you animate that. You can't animate close to how good he draws in the manga. So they went for more of like almost like a visual novel kind of style for a lot of it, where it's one solid face of a guy talking and then the next face talking, and there's
And
not too much
a lot of like
animation going
sliding
on.
across the screen.
Yeah, lots of sliding and just still drawings, which is obviously like a budget time thing. But I think I'm happy they chose to preserve the artwork rather than have better animation.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. It almost feels like I'm watching the manga take place.
Hmm.
And I kind of, like, I get that it was a budget thing.
Hmm.
But because of how eccentric JoJo's is,
Hmm.
I still feel like it works. Because while it's like a still shot, and while I'm like, okay, so I get it, you're trying to save money, or like while they're just focusing on like one movement and everything else isn't really doing anything,
Hmm.
it's like, but on the other hand, there's a lot of detail in this one shot.
Yeah,
And also,
has
you can
like,
look at
pizzazz.
it a little bit.
it has pizzazz. It has
Also,
lots of pizzazz.
I think it could also be, you could construe it maybe unintentionally so, or maybe it was intentional, that it's just making fun of those 80s shows that really didn't have the money, and or even American shows like, geez, He-Man, oh my god. But like how everything in the background just still, and then you have the one main character, like, and then everything else like is totally static. It could be making fun of that. I don't know how much of it really is, because
Anime money.
the show is pretty much just one drawn out joke, I think.
Yeah. Also, for the record, I was recently rewatching He-Man.
I was too,
because
yeah.
I saw it on Netflix and I was like, well, I guess that's there.
It's so much worse than I remember it.
It's real bad.
I have the power!
It's great. But
I think that was pretty spot on.
I saw an episode where they had to get a wizard to have confidence in himself again so
Dude,
rocks
I
could
hate
fly.
that guy.
It sucks. He sucks. But it's thoroughly 80s, and you can feel that same, like, crazy Adam He-Man, like, why is this guy bigger than most cars?
Oh, 17-year-old Jonathan Joestar, 205
Oh, boy.
pounds, 195 centimeters.
He grows up a lot in those 2 years.
I actually like
What is
that.
195 centimeters? It's like 6'4"?
It's
Something
six,
like that.
that's around there. It's
five.
it's
I looked it up when I was watching.
five. Yeah, he goes from being a relatively skinny little kid, living in his little mansion, to being the biggest rugby player that ever existed.
It might actually be more than 6'5". Give me a sec.
Bonkers.
No, it's 6'4". It's right. You're 6'4".
I remember when I
That's
feel
just
like-
a ballpark guess.
Joseph is like 2 inches shorter than him and is like the scrawny Joestar comparatively.
Yeah, like-
Jonathan is massive.
I remember when they had the time skip to him playing rugby, and I had to look it up to make sure it was the same character. Because I was like, what just happened? What
For
happened?
someone just like me, so I remember listening to JD and Javon talk about JoJo. I didn't know which one was which. Like I didn't know what all the names were. Jonathan is the first JoJo that they focus on, 1882, 3, whatever. Blue hair, and then Joseph is his grandson, and he is the 1930s one from Part 2.
Brown hair.
Brown hair, yes.
If we're doing it by hair color, we might as well go all the way here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think I want to just start talking about spoilers because this is a weird.
It's hard to talk about JoJo's without spoiling.
Yeah.
Well,
very-
it's hard to talk. It's hard to consider anything JoJo's a real spoiler, to be honest.
I just know that I can't wait for Jovan Joestar.
JoJo.
My Bizarre Adventure is. Alright, so just give me like one time skip and I will be about 10 feet tall, 50 feet wide. It'll be great. So with all that in mind, do you or do you not like it? JD, I'm gonna give it to you first, because you know.
JoJo's is like my favorite thing ever. Like out of everything that came out of Japan, the manga, the anime, I love it. Everything about it. It's ridiculous, and that's exactly what I like. If anyone's ever talked to me before, I like the dumb stuff that's really cool, and it's exactly
JD is my partner in crime when it comes to
It's-
shonen.
it's
and
so
the
cool.
best. All right, Tom, give it to me.
So I think so. Last show, Jovan and JD's, and I think even Alan said they didn't know if I would like the show or not. That was totally up in the air. Because I'm not as into Rule of Cool as they are, but I showed you guys Redline.
Oh
I
yeah,
love-
It's true.
Redline.
and
I think
Redline
similar.
is maybe my favorite anime movie other than like Your Name.
I like JoJo's. It can get over the top, and I roll my eyes, but that just goes along with the territory. I like it.
All right, it's 2 thumbs up. Alan, are you going to be contrarian here?
No, I'm not. It's just so silly. Like, if you're looking to have a laugh or to watch, like, dumb shit go on with, like, cool poses, like, JoJo's is what is that. And,
It is.
yeah, I liked it.
If you liked the worst parts of Dragon Ball Z, you'll like JoJo.
Yo, time out. Don't you start that.
It's like Boo Saga, dude.
I loved the Boo Saga.
I'm saying, say what you want, but I teared up in JoJo's. I was watching part 2 when I first watched this. I was emotional. I don't care what anyone says.
Like once or twice, but for
I
the
cared
most
a lot.
part, like
I don't know
Oh,
which
no,
part
there's
you're
a scene.
talking about.
I was
but
talking
we'll
about
get
this.
into that. We'll get
All
into
right,
that.
so-
Spoiler territory.
we're about to get into spoilers in 5
Okay.
seconds because if you guys at home watching this right now don't know, you can pause videos. Isn't that crazy? Pause the video. Go watch
Watch all of
JoJo's.
JoJo's.
Or just watch the first 26 episodes because that's all we're talking about today, and you know, we're awesome. Love us. Then please come back. Don't leave. Don't leave forever. Just put the video in the background. Then watch all of JoJo's one shot. You can do it in like 8 hours, easy peasy.
I did.
Then come back to us. See? Then come back to us. With all that in mind, welcome to the spoiler section. With every other episode, I must ask this, and I kind of have to ask this again, but Best Girl just feels a little wrong in JoJo's universe.
Oh, Best Girl's always the best man in JoJo's.
Yep, so in JoJo's, who is Best Hunk?
I have 2.
Give it to me.
In the first season, it was Rosario Speedwagon. Robert, whatever.
Robert's EO Speedwagon.
Robert
Definitely-
Speedwagon.
Definitely Rosario. Anyway, I'm still
That,
calling
you were
him that.
watched on Crunchyroll, right?
Yeah,
They changed names.
I know, but like, whatever.
Robert.
I'm still calling him.
Fine,
Anyway,
whatever.
he was amazing in the first season, always being the they always have the characters in American cartoons that just shout out like what they're doing, or even the older anime that can't actually participate but see it happen, and they're like, oh my god, this is what he's doing now.
Joey Wheeler, what?
Yeah, or Krillin
Krillin.
in only in the well, I guess just any of the sideline people that aren't doing the main fight in Dragon Ball. Anyway,
Someone who's like an order of magnitude weaker than everyone else. You're just
What?
watching. Someone who's like an order of magnitude weaker than everyone else who just gets
Yeah.
to watch.
well, he can't fight at all. Like there are
No.
people who like have some latent potential.
Nothing.
Oh.
Hey man, don't make fun of Krillin.
No, I
What's the
was
dragon?
talking still about Rosario Speedwagon. Anyway, and then for season 2, Joseph, of course. I mean, come on.
All right. You know, JD might actually have a part 2 opponent for Joseph. I'm not sure.
Part 2. Oh god.
It's just,
Um,
so.
Would you like to tell me why the National Socialist Party of?
Oh, man.
of Joseph
Okay,
might be
so-
the best?
I just want to establish first, Joseph is easily my favorite character out of these two parts of JoJo's.
Okay.
Which it's almost not fair, just because of who Joseph is. He's hilarious. He's amazing. But if I had to pick like a secondary character that's my favorite, I love Von Stroheim. I love Von Stroheim more than I should. I mean, he's an evil Nazi. but just everything about him. He loves what he does, and I respect that. I love how he says "Speedwagon," and I love. He's just a hero more
Who said
than
anything about evil? He's just a Nazi.
he's just a Nazi, and he loves German science.
He just loves Germany so much.
He just loves that country, and he's like, I believe in it. I believe we're the best out of everyone. And
You forget everything else the Nazis did, man. Strohan makes a good argument.
this was in 1936. No war crimes were committed at this point, I don't think. So like we're in a gray area, I think.
That's true.
It's kind of, but yeah, I love von Stroheim.
Do war crimes count if they're on your own people?
Yeah. Yes.
It's like I don't know if that's a war crime or not, or if it's like
A
a national
normal
issue.
crime.
Yeah, just a normal crime, and like I don't know, but yeah, I love von Stroheim.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's fair on Joseph. Do you have a part 1, Fest Girl? Is it also Speedwagon?
Oh, me? Part 1. No, it wouldn't be Speedwagon. I didn't like Speedwagon that much when I first watched JoJo's. Mostly because like I was like, who is this guy, and why is he in my story about super buff men fighting
He has
evil?
abs. Beautiful warming abs.
That's how I felt about Poco.
Mhm.
What is this kid doing here?
Yeah, it's like, why is he here? And then he leaves,
Yeah.
and he never comes back.
No, Poco's a waste. Alright, JD, give me a part 1 Best Girl then.
It's not fair because I'm kind of using part 3 to like assist this, but I love Dio. I love Dio so much.
Oh, that is cheating,
He's
but I'll
such a
give it to you
villain. He's such a
anyways.
villain.
I'll give it to you because episode 1 of part 1 is just... Look at how, like... You're like, wow, Dio might be a result of his lifestyle. Then he keeps going, and you're like, no.
And he kicks
Dio's
and kills a
just
dog.
evil.
And then he's like, ha ha ha, I stole your girlfriend's first kiss. It was me, Dio. And I just
It
like,
wasn't-
who is this guy?
like,
What's
at
he doing?
first-
What's he want in the world?
At first with Dio, I was like, okay, so they're showing a parallel. You know, Joseph was spoiled. Dio had life's hardships on him. That's why Dio's bad. And, you know, with, like, good raising, Dio's gonna be... No.
Oh no, he's
No.
pretty.
Dio's
He's
the
bad to the
monster.
core. He is. Ooh. They start
Oh.
stitching humans together with dogs and stuff, and snakes and other. Ah, they got weird.
Stop it.
Oh, what's it? I'm sorry, I'm at a loss for the word. What's it called when someone? This is gonna ruin the joke I had later. But what happens when someone just describes a setting? What is that called?
A narrator?
Uh,
Exposition?
Exposition. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, I love
I
it.
do... Well, before I talk about that bit, Alan, you don't get to hide from the Best Girl machine.
Okay, oh, I don't want to just say Joseph, like, so I'm gonna say Caesar because I like how he blows bubbles everywhere.
I like Caesar.
I was watching with a friend who, like, on Caesar's big episode,
Uh-huh.
somebody who had never seen Judges before was just chilling at my house, so she was watching with me. And it was just, oh boy, he blows bubbles, yay! Maybe not the episode you wanted to join up to the Caesar parade, but
Yeah.
whatever.
I will say one of my favorite Joseph Caesar moments is when Joseph meets Caesar and Caesar has the bubbles and Joseph's like, wow, he has a thing. I need a thing. And he makes this stupid clacker thing which he like almost never uses, and he's like, ha ha ha. This is
Now I have this.
It's like, we just bullshitting to be cooler. Clacker
Um,
folly.
What a hero. Alright, Alan, give me a part one-er then.
Part 1, I'd say Speedwagon. I thought Speedwagon was just hilarious.
Yeah. So what I was gonna say is Captain Exposition, and he's the one that just explains everything.
Mhm.
For everyone else, just be like, oh wow, this, I see that you're watching this happen, but like, just so that we're clear, this is above average for even people in this universe.
Let it be known, not the average man could.
Not every man's a vampire.
Not every man is Jonathan Joestar, who, while burning to his death with broken ribs, can use a knife to launch himself back up and use a rope or a belt to lasso someone.
I forgot how
Jojo, in your
ridiculous-
father's last moments, he gave you his fighting spirit. Like,
I love it. I love it so much. And you know that's like leftover from the manga where like the fights weren't as like detailed drawn, so you needed somebody to tell you like what was happening. But it was like, no, we're keeping everything. You're just watching the manga. We don't care. And that makes it so much better. All right.
So, like, they say true to JoJo's, which I really like, because they're like, if we leave anything out, I know fans are gonna go crazy.
You
So
know what? Yeah, just read it to
Much
them. Fuck
information.
it.
Mhm.
So
Do this panel by panel.
so for the show. Oh wait, Jovan, did you say yours yet?
Oh, I
That's
actually
cool.
didn't. I was hoping nobody was gonna jump onto me.
We need to know.
Fine, the evil curses. Let's see. I kind of want to choose the existence of Smoke Wagon as a whole. Because nobody's talked about Smokey.
Yeah,
No,
because he
why
was
would
just the
anyone talk
narrator. Why
No,
was
I'm
he the
firmly of the
narrator?
belief that every JoJo needs a like completely worthless sidekick.
But he was in like 2 episodes.
And he was
disappeared.
worthless.
Yeah, but he
Fine.
later went on to become mayor of New York City.
No,
He-
it was Georgia. It was in Georgia.
Oh, he's
He,
Georgia? Okay.
I think Atlanta, yeah. He like narrated everything,
It was
and he
great.
wasn't even there.
It was great. What a hero. He heard the story later. It's fine. All right, fine. Speedwagon definitely for the first one, but not for any of the reasons you guys gave. For one sole reason. Oh no, we're fighting Dio. Zappelli's arm has been frozen. There's nothing we can do. All hope is lost.
Oh my god,
If
don't
only
talk
his
to me
arm
about
can be
this
thawed
scene.
out by some sort of heat.
I have an
Somebody say,
idea.
Speedwagon's abs.
Who also has an immaculate six-pack. He's the loser in the world, but he's the chiseled god of a human being.
Um,
His abs are so perfect that he melted a frozen arm. He thawed Zappelli's arm out with his abs. I need to stress this a little bit harder.
Some of his- 2 of the moments that really solidified him for me was when you first meet him. He's like this street thug, right? And he's like, I have nothing to live for in life, and I'm just trying to make everyone's life terrible. And then he's like, the Joestar, your honor, is has changed me
Within, like, a
fundamentally as a
second.
person. Like, and then when he sees Dio, he's like, Joestar-san, I have met terrible people before. I was a terrible person myself, but this man is not a man of his situation like everyone else. He is truly and irrevocably evil. Like, how would you just know?
I love it.
Like, he
I love that,
sees
like-
his face and he's like, of course he is.
Yes.
No, I love it because Dio's a bit like lying, and he's like, it's my circumstances, and I'm so sorry. And like, I thought the first time I watched, I was sure Jonathan was gonna be like pulled into that. But before we even get a chance to see Jonathan's reaction, Speedwagon just jumps in and is like, no, he's evil.
Look at how evil he is.
Look at how pure. And Dio doesn't like even fight back. He's like, no, he right though.
He's more like Drat spoiled again.
Aw man, you brought a dog who can sniff evil with you. And then for part 2. Oh gosh, I have actually a lot of options.
There's a lot.
It's easier for me to just say who aren't my best girls in part 2. Because, like, of course Joseph is the best, and, like, that carries on for me. Like, I hold Joseph to, like, a super high standard when I compare him to other JoJos. But also, like, I really liked Lisa personally.
Yeah, so someone we never talked about is Lisa, because, like, she was super cool. I wish she did more things in the story.
I
But,
wish she did more things, but, like,
She spent the whole last battle knocked out.
yeah,
that
she was
sucks.
kind of sitting around, yeah.
But like before
But-
that, I liked what she did with the vampires and like the bluff with the Pillar Men.
Yeah.
I also
That was-
liked that like I liked watching her try to keep her composure.
Oh, that's my favorite scene. That's when I was tearing up. Was when Joseph was just like, Lisa, your
You
cigarettes
heartless bitch.
holding your cigarettes backwards, and
Yeah.
she just starts crying, and it was like, oh shit, this is.
Or when she like, so when you were saying the bluff, and then Joseph just looks at her and he's like, "Oh yeah, the explosives."
I wish Joseph like he should have just shut up then, but hey, whatever. Or when the door guy was like, "Aha, you must fight me, the door first," and Lisa just walks by and Omaewa Shinderu's him, and it's like, okay then, great. So she had some cool moments, but I also just liked her characterization a lot.
Yeah, I liked her as a teacher as well. I think she was
Yeah.
cool. She's a
I
teacher.
think she was a great teacher. Like she really did well with the trope she was given. She was young Genkai, and I was in.
And there was really just like one thing that she made them do, and then just train with these guys the rest of the time, and we'll just have the calendar sheets just ripping off in front of the screen.
3 months
I didn't
later,
need to-
he finished climbing the pillar. That's fine.
It was great.
The
It was fine.
time scale they gave that was ridiculous. It was like 6 days they spent climbing that pillar.
It was only 3 days.
Three-
Oh, it's
No,
only
no, it was
3
3
days?
days. Yeah, they
Oh,
they
okay.
finished at 62 and 20 minutes respectively.
Okay.
Which is funny because they had a lot of filler to go when like that trap triggered, and then it was basically you get past this trap and then you've just made it to the top. It's fine.
Yeah, because they pretty much like flip themselves all the way around.
I guess whatever.
I also really liked Wham from
Yeah, Wham
Wham
was
was
also a great
great.
character. I always loved the honorable villain who just wants
man.
a good fight. All
I
that.
actually. All right, so we're done with best girling.
Mhm.
2 things. One, like in all of JoJo's, I love that nobody's capable of thinking inside their heads.
No, you gotta talk about it.
You just have to. It's amazing to the point where Joseph can just predict inner monologues, but because their inner monologues will happen out loud, he's correct. Never does somebody just choose not to speak when Joseph does the thing.
Oh, I love that trope. It's not a trope even. He made a trope about
It's
Joseph where he just says whatever someone's gonna say next. And
Yeah,
they're
I
always
love
shocked.
that one.
They're shocked. How did he know I was gonna say that?
But they don't stop, mind you.
No, they just keep
No,
on
Don't
going.
say it.
No, because they were already gonna say it, and they were like, oh,
That's one of my
Ow.
favorite things from the.
so solid.
Anyway, so I wanted to talk about what I expected, and then what I got.
All right, give it to me.
Oh, that means.
So, I went in, and I expected something like I'd heard of stands before, and this doesn't have any stands in them.
No,
it
this
is
is pretty standard.
but-
It is.
I was expecting it to be about people with like supernatural ability, like supernatural powers, like think like ninjutsu or ki. I thought it was going to be like these energy blasts or like fire or like water, but it's really just them manipulating their bodies in like Tibetan medicines, using like Tibetan medicinal techniques that don't exist, which I thought was an interesting
Almost entirely
direction.
just breathing.
Yeah, it's the power of your body, but more specifically of the blood in your body after it's been oxygenated. Therefore, breathe.
And different people have different potentials, to be fair. So, like, if you're a Joestar, you just won the genetic lottery, apparently.
Right, and that's why
Yes, they
Dio's
can
so
breathe
strong
better.
because he became a vampire with Joestar's blood.
Yeah.
Jonathan's father, whatever his name.
It's not George. That's Joseph's father.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
no,
okay.
Drake.
This is also George. Maybe they're both George.
I'm not
yeah,
sure.
because it's George the Second.
It doesn't matter.
Maybe.
Anyway. He doesn't matter. Jonathan's father works fine there. It is... Yeah, I do really love... So what you got was, Hamon, Ripple. I actually really love Hamon to the point where, like... So everybody, heads up. Hamon doesn't get used after part 2. After Joseph, you're done with Hamon. It stands. And I'm not gonna lie, it took me a while to warm up to stands because I just really liked Hammond.
There's your transition period. Yeah, because I think Hammond, it was just so perfect how they did it, where they had Jonathan be like such a great setup for like, this is what Hammond is, and this is kind of how it works, and what it does. And then you have Joseph, which is like the crazy applications of like
Yeah.
pushing the limits of what they can do with a weird breathing technique.
Which,
And-
to be fair, they kind of forgot one really important part of Hammond that like nobody talked about in the second part. It's regenerative. And it's just never used in part 2 to do so.
What do you mean by regenerative?
You mean
heal.
that it heals you?
Oh,
Like,
You use Hammond to heal.
yeah, I noticed that.
It bothered me a lot in part 2 where it's like, oh gosh, all these wounds, what can I do? I'm like, breathe.
But
Just breathe and they
only
magically
I thought
fix.
only
It's harder to
Zeppelin could heal
breathe.
people.
No, because Zeppeli didn't heal Jonathan. Jonathan healed Jonathan.
Yeah, he just sort of
Two
breathed.
punch works.
Well,
because
he-
it's just, you heal yourself.
He like corrected his breathing, and then he
Yeah.
breathed better, and he healed.
But that just means he healed himself with the Hammond, though.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
It's
Like,
harder to
Jonathan
breathe
just
when you're
said-
hurt. Okay.
yeah, but they still fight, so they can still heal. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I didn't expect Jonathan to die at the end
Mhm.
of
That was
season part 1.
I really
Yeah.
like how he died, though.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
think it was great that it was him cradling Dio in his arms, and he died, and Dio looked sad that Jonathan died, and he was like, "But you're my enemy, you're my foil, you're the person."
Yeah.
And it was they both just went down with the ship.
Yeah, no, I
And
just love Jonathan a lot, actually. Like, while Joseph is, like, you have to love Joseph, he forces you to love him by, like, beating you over the head with his personality until eventually you're just like, you know what, you got it, kid, you win. I just really love the fact that Jonathan was just the most honorable human being alive.
just the most perfect person ever. He's
Yeah.
just the nicest guy,
And,
and,
like,
he can't do wrong.
Some
Yeah.
people who know me might be surprised that I love that, because when it comes to Doctor Who, like, real fast, the Fifth Doctor is my least favorite Doctor. I've seen all of it. Oh god, some of the old ones to slog. I'm just gonna put it out there. But the Fifth Doctor is my least favorite Doctor because he is like the most honorable, like chivalry dude ever. But the difference is, like, with the Doctor, he's this ancient being who's supposed to be cunning and a liar and a trickster and whatever, right? But the only requirement to be a Jojo is, like, and Jonathan even defined this, be like a vaguely good person. That's all we need from you. Save the world when it's your turn, and you're good. So after that, I just loved that, like, because that's his role, I loved how he was just, to a fault, just the greatest guy ever.
Yeah, and it's such a dynamic thing with him and Dio, because, like, again, Dio's so evil, and Jonathan's
so bad.
the purest person ever, and it's such, like, a crazy, like, dichotomy between the two. It's, like, I think that's what, like, makes him more interesting, because, like, honorable can be so boring sometimes.
Because Dio's there.
That's
Yeah.
another reason I like Joseph even more, because you're so used to expecting like this paragon of a man, and you see Joseph, and he starts out well, I guess
He beats up two cops.
Yeah, he just beats up two cops just because he gets so pissed off. Like, that's his thing, that he just gets angry easily. And he's almost kind of a delinquent in that way, but they never even I don't know.
I mean,
And he's
as
like-
long Arena had him on a good leash, it was fine. But I also love, if we're gonna compare JoJo's real fast, Jonathan's methods were pretty much exactly what you expected him to do. Nothing in the first act like shocks you, right?
Yeah.
Like-
I'm gonna go punch that guy.
It's
And you
brute
do
force.
it. You punch him real good, and then I got the sword of luck and pluck.
And pluck.
Yeah, pluck.
It's
All right, everybody, just appreciate the moment for a second.
Put a P on
moving
it.
on. Moving on. It's fine. Luck and pluck. And then you're like, okay, he's gonna slash Dio with the sword. It channels Hamon. Wow, he did it! Surprise. With Joseph, in his first episode, he uses Hammond to like channel a Coke bottle to take out a cop, and you're like, okay, that was a pretty interesting usage. And then fighting Strizo, who like becomes a vampire for like 5 minutes, he just pulls a Gatling gun out from his back pocket, like a Tommy gun.
He just has a gun, and then he's like, "Ha,
From
you
his
should."
back pocket, and someone's like, "Where'd you get that?" And he doesn't answer, and instead just guns the dude down in like a crowded store.
Yeah, he's like Smokey's like, where'd you get that gun from? You're terrifying these people. And he's like, oh, what? As he pulls the grenade clip.
Yeah. Strizo, you should have spent more time on the streets.
Yeah, I
You
love
could have learned about
you could
whatever
have
the hell just happened.
learned how I picked up these World War
12
II
grenades.
like
These 12
army,
grenades.
like it's like army, like what do you call that? Like uniform guns, like or
I
like
love it.
grenades. Like you can't get those kinds
No,
of.
I love it because like he plugs one, and it's like, you got rid of that one. You should have paid more attention to that string that wasn't in the last shot. Just
Meanwhile, while we're talking about how Joseph is different than Jonathan, one of my favorite parts is in that Strizo fight when he's like, "Smokey, I have a plan. I'm gonna use my legs." How, Joseph? How are you gonna use your legs? I'm gonna use my legs and book it out of here.
Yeah.
Runs away, and you're like, "What?" Like,
you would never expect a Joestar to do that.
Jonathan would never do that. He
Jonathan
would
would never.
die. He would die in line of battle before he ran.
That just
away.
makes me think of the fight with the first fight with the Pillarmen that aren't Santana, and like Whamu, like is about to focus on
Oh my god, the playing
Bag
dead
and-
scene.
and Caesar Zapelli, and he's just crawling behind him, and then he looks behind him, and he's just dead on the floor.
Yeah,
and
it's
he's like still crawling.
He's doing slapstick shit in the background while people are dying. It's like, what are you doing?
And
Why?
like Joseph makes some terrible joke, and he's just like, "My friend just died," and he's like, "Yeah, I know he just died, but come on,
Look at this clacker, though. Isn't it cooler than your bubbles?
Oh,
Oh my god. Okay, so we've talked a lot about the difference of the Joestars.
Joseph is good.
I love both of them a lot. It's fine. I think, like I said, I think one of them defines what it means to be a JoJo, and one of them defines what it means to be on the bizarre part of the JoJo. I think I texted this to you, Thomas, at one point. I was like, Jonathan defines Joestars, Joseph makes them. Alright, but I want to talk about the villains in the same, like, I'm not sure I just want to do a comparison because we haven't talked much about the Pillarmen. It's kind of a pity because the hero of part 2 is definitely the highlight, but for part 1, it is by and far the villain.
Yeah.
Dio is...
Dio's a crazy
Dio's
damn.
the perfect villain, and they've got, and he's so powerful because he's so evil. He's Joestar's blood, and he's a vampire, and he controls an army of zombies that, depending on the mythology, vampire do. And what I really like is Striso is one of Tom Petty's disciples, so he's like really powerful in Hammond, and then he becomes a vampire, and you're like, oh shit, like now he's fucked up. Like there's no way Joseph can do this. Yeah, there's no way Joseph can do this. Jonathan barely did it, and Jonathan was fully trained in Hammond, and Joseph does it in an episode. Yeah, like
Which is so weird because Striso is supposed to be like built up to be worse than Dio, but quite frankly, he just feels way easier.
yeah, because I think that just gives you a perspective of just how talented Joseph
As
is.
it's supposed to be. Also, because Jonathan didn't have like 50 grenades that he can just pull out of Hammer's face or a Gatling gun. I'll admit it probably helps.
He had his fists
And a sword.
and a sword.
And it helps like show like because I feel like if Jonathan had to fight Striso, it would have been so much harder.
Yeah,
it would
To
have
just
been.
try to punch Striso, that's not going to happen.
It doesn't work. Hammond, you need more than just normal Hammond. Like, I'm sure Jonathan would have found a way, probably sword. But, like,
Probably.
He's not that clever though. See, another thing I love about Joseph is he's clever. He does the things
oh god.
in anime that I prefer from fight
Yes.
anime. I was talking to Jovan about Yu Yu Hakusho and how they use the environment. They use clever tricks. In one of the first fights in Yu Yu Hakusho, he grabs a cigarette that someone threw on the floor and he puts it in someone's belt so he can see them in pure darkness. That's clever. And Joseph does that. Jonathan doesn't. Jonathan's just like, let me hit my head against this hard enough and it'll break before my head does. And I don't like that as much. And I mean, I don't know how else to say that. Joseph's like...
That's fair and really cool, but I also love the dichotomy of personalities that comes from that. Because then, with that description, you expect Jonathan to be the meathead, and you expect Joseph to be, like, the polite intellectual, and no.
Yeah, and it's kind of been, I've heard an interesting description that kind of summarizes how like JoJo personalities change over time. Is that it alternates between being cool-headed people and being hot-headed people. We have Jonathan's a very calm, collected person, and he's like, I'm gonna do this one thing, and he's straightforward. And then you have Joseph, who's the hot-headed, kind of like acts on passion kind of person, and that carries out throughout this entire series.
But withstands.
Yeah, in JoJo, in part 3, which is not in this, but he's again straightforward, and he's a very serious person.
And he just punches.
Really?
Well, don't worry, you're not going to be focusing on Jotaro that much in part 3 anyways.
Yes. Really?
It might as well be called Polnareff's Bizarre Adventure. But not the point. We digress. I want to talk about the Pillarmen, because we have mentioned their names like once, and Wamu was cool. Wamu was like super honorable. Santana, I loved the idea that he was just a baby,
He
basically.
was no one. He was a grunt,
They did not care.
and he was doing crazy. He was crawling into Strawheim's leg.
Yeah, like he was insane. And like you're like, oh god, is this the new threat? And Santana just goes down and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
I know people jobbing in this arc, I'm not gonna lie.
No, another thing I like about all of JoJo's is that like JoJo never fails.
It's the best.
He like has trouble, but he will beat it in that set of episodes. Like, it's not like something that comes back to bite him years later, except for Dio, but that's like the next season. And like, he squashes it. Like, it no longer becomes a problem. Santana, like, he kills him. Except for one. Except for
The first
ACDC.
encounter with the peppermint, with the peppermint, with the pillar man.
Yeah,
ACDC
when they
is
first
like the
awaken.
only person who comes back.
Oh yeah, but then he gets rid of Esidisi twice, so it's fine.
Yeah, like
And
it's
that was
also
his
in quick
idea, too,
succession.
so he's the one who beats him. Yeah, with the exception of the first encounter with the Pillarman, Joseph doesn't lose, and I am honestly no JoJo ever loses. I'm gonna put that down like right now. JoJo's don't lose.
Like, but they do it
I'm
well.
okay
It's
with it.
not bad.
It's like watching Superman, or like watching, I don't know, like a team that, like, you just show up and you're a Germany fan in the World Cup. You're a bandwagoner, sure, but on the other hand, you also just want to watch, like, this person you're cheering for just win and do it really flamboyantly and coolly, and that's what you're here for. You're not here to be like, will Joseph succeed? You're here to be like, how
is he
Joseph
going to do it?
succeed?
Because I feel like that's the reason why that's not a bad thing that JoJo should always win, is because the odds are always stacked so far against them. It's crazy. You have Cars ascend to ultimate being form,
Yeah.
and he becomes a bird monster. And it's
They
like,
lost track of the power scaling a little
and
bit.
it's
by
like, what
the
do you
end
do
there.
to this guy?
This is why Hammond had to stop, was because cars existed,
Mhm.
and we ran out of things.
I dare you to make an enemy that appears as Cars, like, Jesus.
Well, I guess it's just what I needed. As far as Hammond is concerned, as far as the fights themselves are concerned, my favorite use of Hammond is Joseph versus Santana, when he rips out the German man's hair. I forgot his name again.
Oh
Stroheim,
my god, Strawheim,
and
yes.
uses it as a shield against
Oh,
the
yeah,
bullets
yeah,
that Santana's shooting out of his fingers. Like,
That was just a crazy fight.
I was like, sweet.
Yeah, I mean, God, I thought the Zoom Punch was cool, and then everybody else got, like, second part was... The problem is Hammond becomes like, really poorly defined. He does lose track of it somewhat in part 2.
Yeah,
It shouldn't be able to be used against, like, life. Threw that one out the window. Like, the Hammond itself, the energy itself shouldn't be able to, like, harm life.
Mhm.
That one goes straight out the window.
Yeah.
The healing kind of goes out the window. But in exchange, you get some cool stuff, like, Zappelli, young Caesar Zappelli's, Hammond Kiss, where he, like, possesses a
Oh,
girl.
yeah.
And then the bird.
The bird.
Yeah, that's something I realized about JoJo's is the writer Araki. He doesn't really like rules that much, which is why I feel like a generational thing works very well for him. Is to
Yeah.
get to pick an idea and do it until he's out of ideas with it, and then he goes on to a new one. Which you kind of see with Hamlin, because he's like, I just want to do cool things, and I'm kind of limited with what I define, so that's why he kind of moved on with Hamlin.
Now we have stands.
Mm-hmm.
And even stands, like, what they're defined in the first episode, and they break it by the 10th.
It doesn't
But it's
matter.
fine. It's
I
fine.
don't you
Rule of
don't
cool
have
is
to think
the-
that.
We're here for the rule of cool. Let's be real. That's what JoJo's is. It's the rule of cool of the anime.
It's a roller
If you're into it, you are. Then you're in. If you're not into it, you're not.
Mhm.
By the way, does anybody have anything to say at all about Esidesi?
Not really.
He's the worst killer man.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it.
He
So
wasn't
Santana
as
was the
evil as
introduction.
Cars, and he wasn't as cool as Wamu, and Santana was just there, I guess.
Yeah, but
Like,
Santana was
the
the
only
introduction,
thing I
so
really
he's cool.
remember of him of ACDC is him, well, being the brain on the back, and just like laughing as he's on the spikes.
I think
Other
part of
than
the
that, I was
problem. I think the problem for Esidesi is the fact that he's the brains of the operation too. Except until they reveal Cars is also that. Cars is perfect. All hail Cars. But like, Esidesi feels kind of like he's supposed to be the clever trickster, but he was up against Joseph.
Yeah.
He never got to be clever trickster.
Mhm.
Because the moment he started clever trickstering, he's like, aha. And then he even did the thing where it's like, now you'll say, and Joseph says it. And you're like, what? Is he better? And then, of course, he's not. He's up against Joseph Motherflippin' Joestar. And then it's like, yeah, I mean, like, it was fun watching them match wits for like 10 seconds, but his thing just got done better by Joseph, so therefore he doesn't matter.
I'm sorry, but I don't remember. So in when you first meet Wham, Wamu, he, I think it's Cars walks in his shadow and
Yeah.
he instinctively like attacks. Do they bring that back, or is
Nope.
that just? I see. I kept expecting it, and I was like, I thought I may have just missed it, but I thought like he would use that in a fight, and you'd be like, oh wow, yeah, they totally talked about that before, and here's the moment where he just like gets super
He
powerful.
needed a
because someone
reason
walked
for
in his
Caesar to get Wamu's
shadow.
attention. Because there was no reason for the Pillarmen to turn back and even fight Caesar and Joseph the first time. They didn't matter that much. Caesar stepped into Wamu's shadow, and then all of a sudden you have a reason to fight. And that was it. That was the whole thing. Drop it and never bring it back. We're not here for consistency, boys and girls. Like, the show has problems. We have to admit, right?
It's not the
Like-
most consistent series, to be
It's
honest.
not a consistent series. Foreshadowing can go the way of the dodo if he has a cooler idea in between the foreshadowing, the actual thing. Some of the
feel
plot
like
points
there
don't
was-
quite add up.
I feel like there was only one real instance of foreshadowing, and that was with Joseph. Like the Santana attacks him, and Joseph goes like, "Whoa! Oh my God!
Where to go?
Oh yeah, his hand.
There it is!" Like,
That was fantastic. Oh yeah, and then he actually does lose the hand. I forgot about
yeah,
that. Also, the fact that Lisa's Joseph's mom was it was actually really obvious if you watch it the second time.
it was obvious the first time.
No, true, but they dropped like the actual answer immediately. Of,
Yeah, they're like,
the
they're
woman
like
that was
this.
saved, and it was like, wait, in the first episode, didn't we mention that the baby that was saved married? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was like, and then like Joseph hears that, and he doesn't put two and two together. Like what?
Yeah, but to be fair, it sounds like Joseph only ever heard the story once, and that was like post Strizo. So
I was gonna mention that. That's what I was trying to think of actually.
yeah. But I mean, I liked that idea, and I liked the fact that like George Joestar, while he might not have been like he didn't get to go on his own bizarre adventure, I like that like the little bit you hear about him is like no, but he was still the best though.
Still a hero. He was in the British Air Force and
And then
saved the
also
world
he
from
motivated
vampires.
Lisa to be that cool. And it bothers me a lot that in the epilogue they're like, and Lisa got remarried. I was like, why? She's downgrading regardless.
She's not a
It's like he didn't know
Joestar.
what happy ending you can give to a woman, so he was just like, well, she got married. We're done. Go away. But, man. Man, oh man. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Do we have anything else we want to say?
That was the last thing that I was gonna say. That it should have been obvious. Lisa was Joseph's mom. But-
Yeah. It's funny, he's simultaneously the cleverest character ever, but also, like, just not a thinker. He's very situationally stupid. But you know when his back's against the wall, he has, like, 15 plans.
But I just the crazy ways that he beats people. Like
It's so
Like,
good.
that's what gets me with shonen. That's the shonen I like. I don't want the head smashing guy. Like him against Wham, he shoots the iron ball, which hits the wall at such an angle that it rolls back
Yeah.
around and gets knocked back through his chest again.
Well, to be fair, Wamu did it first. His ball was shot at such an angle that it would go around the wall, hit Wamu's ball as it goes around the wall, and that one's gonna hit.
And
It's
then
like one step stupider.
the shoot the sorry I forgot. And then the clackers.
Yeah.
He just throws them, and then he's like,
Stupid
"You think
clackers.
that's it? They're coming back, cause bam, boomerang clackers."
Boomerang cam on. I do like one other thing we need to mention. Because we talk about how clever Joseph is, how cool Joseph is, how amazing Joseph is. Friendly reminder, Joseph did not win the last fight.
What?
God won the last
He
fight.
planned it all.
God won the last fight and Joseph got really lucky. And he even admits that.
Yeah,
And I just love
I do
that.
like that.
We've seen this one clevering, scheming character get out of everything. How is he going to get out of this? And the author with the biggest plot twist of the entire series gives him just straight plot armor and says, that's it.
He's just like,
He could not beat him.
"Whoops, that was a close one. that didn't go worse."
He just power creeps cars to all hell and is like, there's no real way for Joseph to win this intellectual battle. So the volcano erupts and there goes Cars by.
And
I mean, that's how
Fly
the
into a volcano.
that's how the first arc of Yu Yu Hakusho ends too. Like he falls into the mud, and they're like, "Wow, that was so clever!" Like you used the mud to hide, and he's like, "What?"
No,
Oh,
but the difference is Yusuke like caught on to that and then like used the mud.
yeah.
Like he used it. He fell by accident, but he used it to his advantage. Joseph just kind of.
But he also won by accident with the guy chanting, and there was no one around, so he was the only one that heard it. So he shrunk because Yusuke had the stuff in his ear.
Okay, yeah, Yusuke won a lot by luck in the early seasons. I get it. It doesn't happen as much later, but I just love that every possible lucky thing in that last fight. God, he's gonna kill us. Oh man, he cut off my arm. Volcano erupts. Oh god, we're flying up. Oh great, my arm just hit him. Thanks God. Oh great, now he's distracted by the arm hitting him. I'm gonna taunt him. Great, now he's slightly distracted. More rocks hit him, and he just left Earth's space.
Yeah, just goes in outer space.
Goes and he freezes and he just stops thinking at some point.
And that's
Some
the end.
million years later.
I'm 100% sure. Like the narrator was so gleeful on that too. He was just like, and he wanted to die, but he couldn't
He's totally gonna come
because
back.
fuck Cars. He's not. There's no way. Cars
Nah,
is
Goes into
he'll-
the
he'll-
infinite vacuum of space.
If he doesn't die, he's coming back.
Cars isn't coming back. Actually, I think like at the end. By the way, at the end, it is revealed that Dio is going to be our next villain, and that's fun. They find the casket, but
Of Amontillado.
not quite. But hey, you know what? Jonathan Joestar's body's close enough. It's basically a Montiano. But with Cars, like then you had Dio like fall down and like you knew he was there on Earth waiting to be found. The narrator is very final with Cars. Also because Cars definitely wrote the mangaka into a corner and you just had to get rid of that. So
I know people who are fans of JoJo's talk about it, and they're like, yeah, I think we still agree Cars was still the strongest person in all of JoJo so far.
yeah, he's obscene.
Through all the bullshit that happens with weird time erase powers that happen, weird causality. How it's crazy, but they're still like, Cars was busted.
Cars can kill everyone. It took literally the will of God to end him.
He had a squirrel made out of his hand that played dubstep music and ate people.
You could say the mangaka had to shake it up. That's a car song.
Is it a Cars song? I didn't know that.
So with that in mind, final thoughts and ratings. Would you recommend? I think I'll just jump in first since I went last for everything else today. Yes. Yes, I would recommend. But Jovan, what if I don't like shonen? Fuck you. Watch JoJo's. You'll find something, I'm sure. But Jovan, I like only serious things. Well, you're no fun. I guess I don't recommend it to you, but I don't want to be your friend either. So, go away. Everybody else, watch JoJo's. It's fantastic.
I recommend it, and yeah, even though you get, I don't know if anyone else, all of our fans out there thought that I wouldn't like it. I liked it. Though I wanted to give a slight aside. Sorry, this is off topic, but I was watching Bakemonogatari again, and I forgot how much I liked it, and I bumped it up. So I had to bump back season 2 of Etika 7. So that's going to be many weeks from now.
It's okay, no one knows our schedule anyway.
I know, but like I was going to have them like as close as I could to each other, but that's.
Oh wow!
I want
actually
Bakemonogatari.
don't know what we're going to be doing next week. All right, great.
Really?
Anyway, go on.
What?
We're gonna have to talk about that. Is all I'm saying.
Okay.
Oh right. Okay, yeah.
We haven't had that discussion yet. Yep. So Tom, do you recommend?
Yes, I do.
All right, Alan, give it to me.
I would recommend as well. It's I wasn't quite sure if I'd like it as much as I did. Mostly because like I can only take so much, but it was fun, and through all the craziness of like my final project, it was really nice to have JoJo's there.
It was there for you and no one else was. Jojo! Alright. And JD, tell me why you don't recommend JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Oh, so this show is falling apart at the seams, really. Just, it's JoJo's is my one of my best experiences watching JoJo's is when I first watched it, and I was the only one who watched it, and I got to just talk about it, and no one knew what the hell I was talking
We
about.
hiked down a mountain in the entire hike.
Oh my god, there's so much stuff. Oh, and then the vampires, and then he sewed a human's head onto a dog, and then he got the Sword of Luck and Pluck, and then they fought a bunch of ripped ancient Mayan gods, and oh, it was beautiful. But it's such a roller coaster. It's I consider it just such a fun experience to watch it. You can take it as seriously as you want to. If you just want something fun to watch, just watch JoJo's. If you want something serious to watch, hey, just watch JoJo's, because I don't give a shit. It's really good.
I think of all the crazy things that happen in the show, I think the stupidest has still got to be Pluck.
That was my
no, that's
favorite
great.
moment of part one. Shut up.
I was like, what profound thing does he have to say? What is he passing up to Jonathan? Put a P on it. I don't know what it
That
means. I
shows
still
an
don't
interesting
know what
knowledge
it means.
of the English language.
Like,
Pluck,
in the
pluck
context
is, it's basically like spirit. It's
like I know what pluck was, but I don't know what the meaning of I'm passing on to you pluck.
I immediately thought of feathers, like someone plucking feathers. Sam told me that, like, I didn't even think about it until Sam thought that maybe it was this, that like it's the blood, his blood that he's putting on, and the blood has the power.
I don't think it did, to be honest. I think he
don't
just
think he thought that
because he was
much about
undead,
it.
so he didn't breathe.
Yeah, he was just like a
There's
jobber
no that,
zombie.
no Hammond.
So it just exchanges oxygen in the air.
I mean, I'm like 80% sure the author just really loved the idea of using like 2 words in one.
Yeah.
I learned 2 words in English.
I'm gonna use them, damn it.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I don't know how that works, but I know I like.
By far my favorite moment. Shut up.
I think everyone should give it a shot. And if you're gonna watch JoJo's, I think you have to watch at least some of part 2. Don't judge it by part 1 per se, because
Yeah, part
2
1 starts a little bit slow. The first episode's kind of rough, honestly. Just a warning to everyone: the first episode is somewhat rough. It's not great. By the end of the second episode, you're probably on board enough. And by the end of the third, you are most definitely on board for our bizarre adventures. All right. With all that in mind, first things first.
Alan didn't say.
Oh,
if he recommended.
yeah, he did.
Yeah, it did.
You did?
He did.
Oh, sorry.
I see.
Before that, though, then, if he already did that, I wanted to say I liked, in the big speeches that the characters would say, they would have, like, these big, like, long, like, kind of, like, serious-sounding speeches, and then be like, do you understand what this is like? Jojo! And, like, you can't take someone saying Jojo seriously.
No, you can't. That's the best part. No matter what, JoJo's just not a serious name. And I just love that they're going to go through, like, once the last name changes, they still just go through whatever, like, crazy, random...
they're all
bullshit
still
you need to get
JoJo.
through to call them JoJo. Jotaro's last name's not even Joestar, and it's fine.
Stuff changes to, like, Kujo, changes to, Higashikata, which they're like, oh, this kata in Japanese reads as Joe sometimes. And it's like, okay, so everyone calls him Jojo. What the fuck? And then
Jojo is that's the dog from Stephen King that kills people.
Yep.
Okay.
How is the last name of your favorite hero? Oh, dogs have a rough time in JoJo's. That's a consistent thing.
They do. Oh, man, JD, spoiling part 3, part 2 for me. I'm just saying.
Oh, no. I'm talking about, like, Jonathan's dog at the beginning.
Oh, man. Yeah, that was...
How do I get to Jonathan? I'll light his dog on fire.
That'll show him.
Alive in a box.
Yeah. Rough.
Oh, my gosh. Dio's just like so evil. It's not even funny. Okay.
And no one caught on except for Jonathan.
Somehow. And then afterwards, Dio's like, I'll play it cool for 70 years. Alright, so first things first, thank you again, Jetty, for coming on as our, like, fourth man whenever we need a fourth man. The Phantom fourth man, our Kuroko. Next week, or in 2 weeks, or, you know, whenever we do this thing. I think in 2 weeks, though that might be a holiday thing. No, it's the 18th. Nothing special happens on the 18th, I think.
Yeah, I'd be available probably.
Okie doke. We have a couple of things. We might just do an impromptu Christmas pod. Because I know Thomas had one he wanted to last year that we didn't do.
I did?
I don't remember what it was called, though, so...
Okay.
Gangsters or something? I don't remember.
Yeah.
Or Alan,
Guys,
do you have one? Somebody had
Oh,
one.
I think I know what Thomas is talking about.
Do it would tell me.
It's the Makoto Shinkai one, right? That had
Oh,
gangsters in it on
Tokyo
Christmas.
Godfathers?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Tokyo Godfathers?
that's the one.
Oh,
I figured. I was like, that's the only Christmas anime thing I can think of.
Could be.
I just know that you like, what, Deep Blue? Or something
We
like that.
might do Brynhilde.
Have you not seen
Which-
Perfect Blue?
Perfect. No, you showed it to me. I watched it.
Oh,
I just forgot what it's called.
Good, good.
We might do Brynhilde, which I'm kind of on the boat of let's not do Brynhilde.
Yeah, okay, so we were supposed to do Brynhilde, but that's Steven,
That's
and
a
I don't
Steven
know,
wreck,
are we
and
doing
Steven's
Steven
dead.
stuff?
See, that's a discussion we haven't had at all. I want to do the Haikyuu, I just don't want to do Brynhilde. But, like,
I think
Steven's
we
not
just,
here. Do we hold off until Steven comes back?
I think we should hold them both off until Steven
Alright.
gets back.
That's
So
fair.
let's bump. So then Trigun?
So it's either Tokyo Godfather or Trigun.
I can't think of a better Christmas than Trigun.
Guys, I'm going to
Go
tell you a
back
quick
one.
story. Trigun's a me wreck. So in case it's Trigun, let me just give the brief rundown that we always give. Alright, it's a Western, but it's on not Earth. But it's a Western. But also the main character is a pacifist. But also he's the best gun guy ever. Okay, the end. Also donuts.
Oops.
That's pretty much the entire plot. But, like, the first time I ever watched Trigun, I just binged the entire show. This was when I was still first kind of getting into anime, too, so I'm excited to go back and see if, like, I still love it or not. Because I don't know. Maybe I won't, but I hope I do. I was first still getting into anime. This is, like, in high school, and I'm, like, early high school, sophomore year. I'm watching Trigun. It's, like,
Yeah,
3
like
a.m.
right
I'm
when he was
watching
still making fun of me for watching
Listen
anime.
here, Thomas. Every episode. Every episode.
Just in case, you know, you
Just
forget.
anybody forgot. Ever. God, let it be known that if you are held accountable for 7 years in the past, you can be held accountable for anything. At like episode 22 or 23, my mom like walks upstairs and is like, "What? Why are you still awake? You have school tomorrow." I was like, "No, I only have like 3 more episodes," and I was like sobbing at that point.
Yeah, 22 is pretty emotional.
Trigun had me. So I am so excited to go back, and I hope it holds up. Plus, I have this, Trigun, Badlands Rumble, the movie, and I just never bothered to watch it because I haven't watched Trigun in so long. That said, I've actually been reading the manga, so that takes a different turn. But I'm excited to watch this just so I can watch this movie afterwards and be really pumped about it. So that's coming up in 2 weeks. I don't know that anything else is coming up in 2 weeks on our channel, but hey. We were gonna do a vlog of Heaven's Feel, but we didn't. So whoops, that's a bad on our part. But maybe look forward to a reaction video from me, Alan, and Steven with Aaron from the gaming channel. Because last night we drove all the way down to Charlotte, watched Heaven's Feel Part 1, and then drove all the way back up.
It was a long trip.
Both me and Alan had 8 a.m.s the next day.
Okay, I just want to complain for a second. What the hell is Google doing to Sheets? I can't move this thing that I
Oh,
should
you
just
can
be
stop.
able to move.
Yep.
I can't
No,
move
what-
these
What
columns
happened?
right
What did
one.
What did you change? What happened?
I was moving Steven's stuff down, and I moved it out to the right so that I could move it back
Yeah.
in, and now I can't put it right in line
Control Z.
anymore.
Can you just Control Z everything you did? Okay, well, whatever. I think while we figure out how Thomas is bad at computers, we'll see you guys next time.
This would not happen on Excel.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.